Watery Wishes, and today we have my very first attempt at no-line watercolouring. Now, I don't hate this card, but I'm not really happy with it either. But I feel that it's beneficial for me to show you my mistakes and what I did wrong, and that mistakes happen and that not everyone is perfect. And I am just learning in card making and watercolor, so I'm trying to show you guys that it's okay to experiment, that arts and craft is a lot of experimenting, and you're inevitably going to make mistakes. Okay, the first mistake I made was I tried to do the background first, which I should have done the dragons first. Also, this stamp set that I used is called Magical Dragons by My Favorite Things. Okay, so the number one mistake I made was not doing my focal point first, the dragons. The number two mistake I made was I was too impatient to get the watercolouring done, and I watercoloured areas next to other areas that weren't dry yet. And as you can see, I got a bit of bleeding into the grey mountain area from the skyline, but I put that to good use later. I turned it into part of the volcano lava. So I'm doing a sort of barren sort of wasteland area with mountains, volcanoes in the background of these two dragons in the forefront. And I think in the end the card turned out okay. It was a lot of covering up and fixing mistakes, which I was somewhat successful at. But if I was to do it again, I would definitely do a lot of things differently. And here I was purposefully trying to get the mountains to sort of blend a tiny bit with the foreground. I didn't want a harsh line there. I wanted it to sort of have a soft delineation between the mountains and the flat ground. Adding a lot of colour back in. I ended up going a lot darker with this card than I actually intended to, because I ended up having to do a lot of outlining and dark outlining on the dragons to fix up the fact that I didn't do them first, and I had colour from the background in places where it should have been straight lines of the dragons. So that's basically what I did wrong, and it's more like a learn from my mistakes video. But as I said, the card doesn't turn out really bad, and I don't hate it. I'm just not as happy with it as I could have been, but I believe there's lessons in mistakes and in just trying. So I'll play some music for now, and I'll let you guys watch the watercolouring. as you can see, I had to keep redefining the lines and redo the eyes a few times. And I mainly had to do that because I wasn't waiting long enough for the watercolour to dry in between when I'd done the face or fixed it and done the eyes. So now I'm just putting in a bit of shadow to ground my characters, and I believe I do the sky again. Because the thing with watercolors is you put them down dark and they always dry back light, lighter than you think. Maybe I didn't redo the sky, who knows. So the watercolors I'm using for this are the Mission Gold watercolors, and I'm using some Royal and Langnickel brushes and some Silver Black Velvet brushes. And now I'm just trimming the panel down. I'm trying to keep as much of that purple in the sky as possible. I actually end up trimming it down a fair bit. I had a lot of trouble trying to figure out how to mat this one onto a card, and I eventually settled on a black with a red mat directly underneath the card, underneath the picture. But I look at Simon Says Stamp slate, they're orange. I look at some Lawn Fawn patterned paper, purple, lilac, whatever. I look at a lot of different choices. And the red seems to go with it better than anything else. So I decided to stick to the red. As always with any sort of liquid adhesive, less is more. That's just a piece of black cardstock. I believe it's Simon Says Stamp black cardstock. And as you can see, I hadn't trimmed the panel down quite enough. I wasn't going to bother measuring it. Oh, and that's just me darkening the edges with a memento marker. And that's pretty much the finished card. I didn't get any photos this time, so hope you enjoyed watching. I'll see you in the next one. Hit like and subscribe if you like the video. And don't forget, have fun crafting your imagination. Bye.